Okay, so in 2019, I went to 5 countries and 7 states, all while being full-time college student. So I'm going to give you some tips, some tricks on how to do it on a budget and how to save your money, how you can come home and not be broke. Google Flights. I always searched on particular dates more further in advance because it's better to gives you airlines that have the best rates for the time that you're going. When it's a really great price, it'll be in green. It does fluctuate throughout the year, so if you're ever looking to go, say for instance, I went to Ireland. When I went to Ireland, I searched and I went in the month of May, like May 29th of 2019 was the most inexpensive one-way flight to Ireland. One-way flights. So if you're planning to go to Europe and you want to go to more than one country, I would do a one-way flight into, say for instance, Ireland like I did, and then we wanted to go to Italy. So from Ireland, we went to Italy on a one-way flight and we went to Venice. And from Venice, instead of flying home to America from Venice, we then flew to Slovenia. And that was also great because we got to experience and travel to Slovenia for a lower cost. It was only $400. I think it was only $380 to $400 to fly home from Slovenia. We were saving money from flying from Venice. So when you go to Slovenia, I hung out there for a couple of days. We walked around and then we flew home to America. We had also a layover in Germany. Layovers are also a great way to travel because with our layover, I believe it was a 6-hour layover in Germany. But in European airports, they don't let you check in an extraordinary amount of time early. Researching your flights is extremely important because, say for instance, you are wanting to go to California. Well, if you're wanting to go to California in the most common months, which typically is summer, there's going to be a ton of people flying. So they're going to jack up the prices. So if you absolutely have to go in a certain month, like do that. But if you aren't on a time frame on when you want to go, like I wasn't, for instance, investigated on going in the summer, I discovered that it was cheaper to fly in those months because even though it's tourist season in the summer, I was able to go to certain parts of Europe that weren't as popular as it would be for, say, for instance, like a spring break in the spring where people and families, they go on holiday and they go on vacation and they have breaks and all. We use this app called Airbnb. Some people might know of it, some people don't know of it. If you are going somewhere, majority of the time there are people that will rent you out their entire home or a bedroom and you can stay there. It's much cheaper than a hotel. That's what we did for all of ours. When I went to Denver, I stayed in a person's basement and it was awesome. It had a kitchen, it had 2 bedrooms, it had a bathroom, a full bath. Like, it was amazing. We didn't even see the owners ever, which some people might want to, some people don't want to. I don't mind it. I stayed in a hotel one time in New Mexico. I stayed in this hotel that had a background of being haunted. And it was the hotel in Las Vegas, New Mexico. They have filmed horror films at this hotel. So I stayed there at that one. That was the only hotel that I stayed at in my whole year of travel. It was a great hotel. I recommend it for anybody. I'll put the name of it down below. So, food. This is where it gets most people. Most people think, I can't do that. I can't go out every meal. A great thing about Airbnbs, if you are renting an entire house from somebody, there's a kitchen that you have access to and you don't even need to ask for permission. But then sometimes if you're just renting a room, I would ask in advance, are we able to use your kitchen? And live life like the locals. If you're from a different country and you want to experience as much as possible, go to the markets, go to the farmers markets, go to the stores, go to the grocery stores, go to wherever they go. Buy groceries. Even look on Pinterest and look up like Italian dishes, European dishes, Irish dishes, the most favorite thing to eat in Ireland. Look those up and copy the recipes. Like, most people wouldn't think to cook on vacation, but make it fun. Like, if you have the opportunity to cook in a kitchen in a different country and mimic a recipe that people love, it could sometimes turn out better than buying it in the restaurant. Like, I know when I was in Ireland, I made all my food. I think I went out to eat 2 times. I stayed in an Airbnb most of the time. The only time I stayed in also a hostel is one night. Hostels can actually get pretty costly. They're a cheaper route in European countries. It's like a comparison for a hotel price in America. Another big rookie mistake that people make is they bring these ginormous suitcases and they pay the extreme amount of money that they need per luggage. It's expensive. It adds up really quick. And you're going to 4 different countries. That is a total of 6 flights you're going to be taking. And say, for instance, your luggage is $30 American money. A lot of money. Bring carry-on. Most of the time they're included. You'd be surprised about the size of a carry-on. You can look on Pinterest, you can look on Google, you can look on other people's blog posts on how to fit a 2-week, 14-day vacation in a carry-on. Bring items that you can mix match. You bring laundry detergent. Bring them with you and do your laundry in the countries, in the States. Do your laundry wherever you have the opportunity to. It's also really nice when you come home and you can just unload your suitcase. Balance your money. So say, for instance, you're gonna have spending money, your food, your souvenirs. Set aside a certain amount of money that you want to budget yourself. I limited myself to $500 for 2 weeks, and that had to go into euros. With limiting myself, I didn't go crazy. An exchange rate for money, which, mind you, never do this in the airport because the airport has an extreme rate that they cut. So say, for instance, I brought $600, I ended up with only like $510 because they took a portion of the money for doing the exchange. Never use your card as much as possible. Or telling your credit card and your debit cards that you're going out of the country, they will tell you the rates on how much the exchange rate is, and that can also let you know if you can even afford to use your credit card or can even afford to use your debit card. But I would basically plan out the amount of money you want to spend, take it out in cash, and then go somewhere other than the airport. Go to like a local bank and then do an exchange, and that way you budget yourself on how much you can spend. Now, it's hard to know because you've never either been to this place or you don't like know the rates, but just do your best, eyeball it, limit yourself on how much you want to spend. You don't need a car in Europe. You don't even need a car in the States anymore. We rented a car one time in Denver, Colorado, and that's because we wanted to go hiking and we wanted to go exploring and we wanted to go sightseeing, stuff that Ubers and Lyfts wouldn't take us to. So in Europe, they have great taxi systems, they have great trains, they have great buses. Uber and Lyft is not an up-and-coming thing in Europe, except I will say Germany does have it. Germany does have Uber, Lyft. You'll be surprised on how much money you can save from not renting a car. Travel to near states, to near countries. Your own car, do it. Because then you are also then just having to pay for your own gas. You don't have to do a train, you don't have to do a flight, you don't have to do anything like that. Drive. For instance, I'm in Arizona, so I went to California. I drove to California, New Mexico, and I drove to Mexico. Those were 4 places that I traveled to that I was able to have my own car. Oh, also Nevada. Forgot about Nevada. I had my own car there, so I didn't have to use any public form of transportation. I actually traveled to the near states. You can investigate. I'm sure you know people that have been there. You can ask them like recommended places. You can go and say, hey, has anyone ever been here before? I'm traveling here. What are some things you recommend? Places to eat, things to do, free community things. You can Google what are some free tourist things to do in Venice, Italy, for example. What are some free things to do in Denver, Colorado? This is great. If you even Pinterest this, there's people that have blogs. They get paid to go to different countries to find free things for people like us that aren't wanting to spend a ton of money. If you go and experience the free cultural, you are able to save tremendous amount of money. Like for instance, I did one day in Ireland where I wanted to do like tours of castles and like boat tours. It was not worth it. Not at all. Like I had more fun walking around the different cities in Ireland with my friend pub hopping than going and paying 12 euros to visit this castle. Like, don't get me wrong, I visited 2 castles. Walking around and just like sightseeing, exploring with your eyes and taking stuff in, it's way better. Like, I don't know. That's just me personally. I mean, also Airbnb has this option to do experiences like the locals, and you pay fees for that also. But those are the time-consuming things. You're not going to want to do something that's going to take like an hour. Because like what else are you going to do with the rest of your day? You're going to have to find other free stuff to do. I also went to Nashville. When I went to Nashville, I walked around downtown Nashville, and there's so many picturesque opportunities in downtown Nashville. Like, there's live music everywhere, there's shops. You alone can spend like 3 hours just walking in downtown Nashville, going in and seeing the live bands, going into the shops, going and looking at all of like the museums. They have the Johnny Cash Museum, they have the Elvis Museum, they have legends in Nashville. If you have friends and family to stay with, take advantage of it, because you could be spending that money that you were spending $300 for 3 nights in a hotel. Uber, Lyft, when you're in the States, Uber and Lyft are godsend. Like, taxis are incredibly expensive. Even in Europe, they're incredibly expensive. So that's when buses and trains come in handy. If you have the capabilities of using Uber and Lyft, it's also helping another person because that's their job. It's cheap. And you're helping somebody. Like, if you have the capabilities of it, use it. There's a ton of train stations all over Europe. You just go, and you can even use your card there. So that's the one place that I used my card when I was in Europe was you go there and you just insert your card. It tells you how much euros you're going to be spending. You can buy it round trip. You don't have a time on when you have to be back. There's times that the trains and the buses do stop running, so you just got to keep tabs on that. But other than that, you can go to a different city for like 6 euros. Places you've been. There's no shame in going back to somewhere easier, and you're familiar with it, so you know how much you're going to want to spend, how much you don't want to spend, how much you know you will have to spend. And if you are going back, you're familiar with it. You don't have to try, and you don't have to be wondering if something's going to be okay if you do this or that, because you've been there, you've experienced it, you know what to expect. When you go on a year's worth of travel like I did, and you go home and you're like, I'm broke, get a second job. If you have the means of moving back home with family, if you have the ability to get a second job, if you have the ability to do anything on the side to get any form of little income, budget that. Your extra income, put into a savings account. And set goals. You're going to really have to try hard. I know that some people are like, I can't do that and go hang out with all my friends and do this, and that. When you have a goal, you will reach it. Everybody's goal might be different, but that's what I did. I got a second job. At one point, I was working 3 jobs just to go on a weekend vacation somewhere. Somebody that you know is interested in traveling, go and take advantage with them. Go wherever they want to go, bring them wherever you want to go, and split it. Split the Airbnbs, split the hotels. But it's very possible. I was a full-time college student. I lived on my own, and not to mention I have every type of finance you can imagine, credit card debt that I was paying off all at the same time. It's very possible to travel the world. You're going out of your comfort zone, and that's the whole point of traveling, is to go out of your comfort zone. Mexico, Ireland, Italy, Slovenia, Germany, Boston, California, Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, and Alabama.